You ever wake up in the morning, check the news, and just go, what the f-? Hello everyone, and welcome back to Waking News. It is August 16th, 2024, and here's all the updates to all the stories we covered over the past week. So back on Monday, it was initially reported that both the United States and Israel were preparing for what was potentially going to be an Iranian attack, as they had promised retaliation over deaths over the past couple weeks. Now, thankfully at this point, there has been no such attack. However, tensions are still high as peace talks were set to continue this week. While representatives from Hamas did not actually meet their counterparts from Israel during the peace talks on Thursday, they did go on to clarify that their position was clear. We will not go for new negotiation rounds. We will only go to implement what has already been agreed on. As of right now, the ceasefire seems to be at a bit of a standstill. We have no progress as they've yet to report, and I'll make sure to keep you guys informed as the story develops. So back on Tuesday, we were talking about that horrendous officer who was fired from the Jonesboro Police Department after beating that inmate in the back of his police car. Now, obviously, as I stated before, I cannot show that video for YouTube reasons, but there is some information I didn't cover that I think might be kind of interesting. Apparently, this was not the first time that Officer Harris was in trouble with the police department. Apparently, he did receive a 20-hour suspension without pay about 2 years ago for excessive force. And just a side note, a 20-hour suspension? I mean, that's just like, what, a day off? I mean, let's be honest. For excessive force, I think he should have at least received maybe at least 2 weeks off. What's even worse, he was actually named in a wrongful death lawsuit that took place back in June, so not surprised. What I consider the biggest story of the week, back on Wednesday I was talking about how Ukraine has just been advancing through Russian territory for the first time in this conflict. As of the recording of this video, it has been reported that Ukraine has seized over 11,000 square miles of Russian territory, and after I posted the video on Wednesday, new information came out that just made me go, wow. Reportedly, Ukraine launched the largest drone attack it ever has conducted in the history of this conflict. Apparently, they targeted not one, not two, not three, but 4 air bases inside of Russia to essentially curtail any kind of air support that Russia could provide into the region that Ukraine now currently controls. And finally, we come to that story I talked about yesterday, where that woman was arrested and sentenced to 12 years in prison for treasonous activity for donating $50 to a pro-Ukrainian charity. It's just absolutely mind-boggling to me that this would actually happen. Because here in the United States, it doesn't matter who you support, you're not going to get thrown in prison for it. But unfortunately, not everyone values the freedom of speech like we do. So I do believe some context here is required. So apparently, what I didn't really quite explain in the video yesterday is that this woman is actually from Russia, and she had recently become an American citizen back in 2021. And so she was simply visiting family when she was arrested. So she donated the money while she was here in the United States, and then she traveled abroad with her boyfriend to Istanbul. Then he went back to the United States as she went to Russia to go visit her family, which she assumed was perfectly fine. Unfortunately, as we can see here, that was simply not the case. So apparently, Russian President Vladimir Putin back in April had increased the maximum sentence for treason from 20 years to life in prison, which, let's just be honest, life in prison for $50 is absolutely insane. I could never imagine in my life that would be anything like that. I mean, I understand if you gave money to the enemy, but let's be honest, the only real enemy here is the Russian government itself. Now, apparently, the only silver lining to this whole situation is that the court and judge that trialed this woman is the same court and judge that was involved in the prisoner swap that occurred a few weeks ago. So hopefully, maybe we'll get to see her probably in a prisoner swap in the near future, as I talked about, but unfortunately at this point we can't be certain about that. Well guys, that's got to do it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching, and by all means leave a like and be sure to comment down below and let me know what you guys think about these updates videos, as I do plan to do more of them in the near future.